estimates vertically in Newburgh, and we're against Verizon Wireless, which is proposing wireless communications equipment on the roof of the Four Winds restaurant at 266 Commercial Street. It's not quite identical. It is 100% identical to what is proposed at 406 Commercial Street, but it's the same basic idea. It's 8 wireless antennas being mounted on a frame on the roof of the building. And they're brought in virtually, this may not be big enough. So, let's see. What this is the layout of the equipment on the rooftop, and then the layout of the supporting equipment in the alleyway next to the building. And I don't know if you're familiar with the front of the building, but Commercial Street, Four Winds, big building to the left, parking lot to the right. There's an alleyway between the big building and the restaurant, and not an incredibly wide alleyway, but wide enough to accommodate the staircase coming down from the roof, I believe, and then existing staircase coming down from the roof, and then also an existing storage shed that the restaurant uses. So, let's see. As I said, a total of 8 antennas on the roof, on a steel frame that will not be visible from the street. The antennas themselves will be concealed within fiberglass canisters that are painted to look like chimneys. As cheesy as it sounds, they actually do a very good job in terms of architectural detailing to make them actually look lifelike from the street. So if you're standing in front of the building or across the street and looking up, you won't see telecommunication equipment. You'll see the front of the building, brick face, and then you'll see what looks like just brick chimneys on the roof. Obviously they're not there now, but we've taken pains to make them look as close to the architectural details of the building and the surrounding area as we can. Let's see, what else? One set of antennas is pointing up Commercial Street, almost directly north. The other is situated kind of in the middle of this frame, is pointing kind of down to the Starbucks and the Lewis Ford parking lot. The basic idea is the same as that proposed facility, and that is to improve coverage in that particular area. It's the north end, it's very densely populated, and as we all know, this is still a flip phone. If you do, that's okay. But everybody uses their smartphones for everything these days. They're not just for phone calls anymore. They're really totally repeating what they've already told you. But basically our cell phones are mini computers, and the data demand for all the things that we do, I'm sure folks are checking to see what pregame stuff the Patriots is tonight, everything like that. That takes a lot of data, and the existing wireless facilities around the city now just can't handle it all, basically. So that's why Verizon is coming in and doing additional facilities like both of these as well as others. Let's see. So the antennas have supporting equipment associated with them, and that equipment, as I said, is going to be housed in the alleyway next to the building, between the big building and the restaurant building. Basically, we will be putting the equipment shelter, or the equipment area where the existing storage shed is, and that's going to be reduced in size, and we're going to be fitting ourselves in the alleyway behind that door there. So that equipment too, which is going to be, it's basically 2 big cabinets, well, not big, but probably, like that in size. Imagine that 3D. So to cut the chase, basically the whole thing will be invisible, if you will, from the street. You look up, you'll see the chimneys instead of antennas. If you look down the alleyway, you'll see the same door that you see if you look down the alleyway now. The reason we're here, other than that we want to tell the community what we're doing, is we've got an appeal, the Board of Appeals, and we're actually seeking 2 variances from the Board of Appeals. The first is from the zoning code requirement that antenna be set back 10 feet from the roof edge, and typically we try to meet the zoning code wherever we can, and if we can't, it's because a specific reason for a particular location. And here it's because it's a long, narrow building, and because of this big building on the south side, we have to pitch the antennas closer to the front of the building to be able to get around that big building and point down to the street and to the sector, could be kind of the southeast, I guess, that way, to get the coverage that we're looking for. You know, one of the reasons we're putting the facility there is to get to cover a certain area, and so we have to get the antennas in that location to be able to get around the big building and get out there. Let's see. The other variance we're seeking is from the building code, and that has to do with this exit here. Basically, the language in the building code is something like providing a direct and proper access to a public way or egress to a public way. In other words, you can get out of the alleyway with no obstruction. We have an opening here of about 2 feet, obviously not very wide. You'll see, so that's not very wide, and it doesn't comply with the building code, so we're seeking a variance there. Excuse me. But there, the reason it's that narrow width is because we are between the existing big building on one hand and one of the columns that supports that existing staircase of the rest of our building on the other hand. So it's sort of a pre-existing condition that we're not taking the staircase down, so it's there, and we'll just explain that in the Board of Appeals. Beyond that, we've brought these just showing side views so you can get a sense. They said here's the door, the equipment shelter will be behind that door so you won't see it. What else? Pictures of where the false chimneys will be. And just other views, not particularly helpful, but it gives you a sense. And I realized and apologize, we submitted both the structural analysis for the steel frame and also photo sims to the Board of Appeals, or at least to ISD, and I should have forwarded those up and brought them to you all, and I did not. So I guess that's it. So if you have questions?
Well, before I ask for questions, can I ask the gentleman if they wanted to add or otherwise comment on 406 to 418?
Yes, I'd like to go through the plans. The building is located near the intersection of Hanover and Commercial, not at the corner because the old gas station site is between the building and the street. What we are proposing is on the roof at the corner of the building closest to the intersection of Hanover and Commercial to install 4 antennas concealed within a fiberglass chimney. Also to construct a platform to put 2 equipment shelters on, and on the structural steel to mount 2 GPS antennas and remote radio heads and junction boxes. The proposed chimney, originally it was proposed at 8 feet. We were able to lower it to 7 feet. However, there's a parapet wall of 21 inches, so the actual visual of the chimney above the parapet is 5 feet 3 inches. We need zoning relief because as the building chokes down, the most optimum location to provide the service is at the edge closest to the parking lot. And the setback is 4 feet from the end of the building and 2 feet from each edge. This is a view of the building, the actual view, the simulation of the antenna, looking down Hanover Street toward Commercial, the existing condition, the proposed view, and looking up Commercial toward Hanover, none of it is visible. We commissioned a RF radio frequency specialist to analyze the proposed installation, and he concluded in his opinion that what we are proposing falls well within established RF exposures determined by both the state and federal government. The site is needed because there's a lack of capacity. Currently, the two green dots are the existing Verizon facilities providing service to the north end. This is up on Charter Street, the Michelangelo roof, and the vent shaft for the tunnel. The site that I'm presenting is located at Hanover and Commercial. You just heard a presentation of the other site going down Commercial.
Hanover, please.
Yeah, thank you. If approved, it would enhance the coverage in the immediate area as shown in the green. The green is the maximum coverage enhanced. And I propose that this is important because cellular service now is not simply a luxury. The commercial enterprises on the street rely upon it for charges, for phones, reservations, etc. But equally important is a public safety aspect. Verizon provides the communication for the Boston police cruisers, their computers on board. Also, your Boston police cameras rely upon Verizon service, and their cellular network is Verizon. To stress the importance, and I'm not going off the track, but I'd like to stress the importance of the public safety aspect. The Denker and Donahue garage on Newbury Street is being renovated, and Verizon has and had antennas on the roof. When Sean Romanowski, who's the director of telecommunications at the Boston Police Department, who was a part of the email chain, heard that it might be shut down by Verizon, he sent me an email, and if I could present to the board a copy of it and make it a part of the record. And for the members of the council, if I could read it, it's a brief email. It says, Mr. Moran, I can see by the email chain there's the possibility of this site being shut down. As you are aware, the Boston Police Department has concerns with loss of coverage in this area. Again, we're talking about Newbury Street. The DPD relies upon coverage to provide connectivity to our cruisers and other cellular devices for cameras and phones. Can we redouble our efforts to ensure this site remains online, as this is a high traffic area? And this area that we're talking about, I don't need to tell you, Hanover Street and Commercial is a high traffic area and could impact public safety if we have an unplanned event. Verizon has an obligation under its license to provide what is called seamless coverage, and that's why we are here tonight, both for private use and public use. What we need at this site is zoned multifamily residential, so it requires under the zoning code a conditional use permit. Because of the location of the chimney where the building chokes down, we have a dimensional problem. So we have 4 feet from the end of the building and 2 feet on either side. The code specifies 10 feet. If we pull back, we lose the benefit of the coverage because the buildings start to block what we are providing. I try to be brief because I think another event is starting at 8:30.
Yes, it is.
If I may summarize, we had a community meeting in November at the site, coordinated by Maria. 5 people attended, 4 were very enthusiastic, 1 was not because he has AT&T coverage. There was no benefit to him. Last week we had a meeting before the Residents Association, and we were blessed with an affirmative vote, as Victor can certify.
Okay, thank you. Does the council members have any questions for either agenda item?
So if these folks go up, do you have a sense of, obviously it's going to help you keep up to date on demand. Do you have a sense as to how long it'll last for? I guess what I'm asking is look into the future. When will you be back for another ask to keep up with the mortgage? Do you have any idea?
We're at 4G and advanced service right now. The equipment is becoming more modular, and miniaturized, so we're able to pull out sections to upgrade.
Any other councilman? I would like to, before I open up to the audience, we did get correspondence from the trustees of 408 Commercial who couldn't be here tonight, but they expressed their support. They had concerns about the aesthetics, which they said that Verizon has worked with them to address and make sure that it looks good. And they also believe that one of the important aspects is whether this would benefit the neighborhood of the north end, which they believe it would. So that being said, do the audience members have questions for, yes?
Not a question, but I am one of those trustees, along with Mr. Kenny, who I believe
Yep,
contacted
yes.
the council. And as Mr. Moran represented, we do see that this would bring a real service to the community because of the dearth of coverage there. And I think, my recollection is in total, but I think it also would be an aid to the EMT service as well.
Yes, they use the same frequency.
So I think for the north end, to be able to enhance the coverage for both EMT service, which is vital in the neighborhood with a number of seniors, and for the police, we certainly think that the location is a critically strategic location to enhance the connection. So the people in the building who were very much interested to make sure that there weren't any kind of detrimental effects or aesthetics or otherwise, we were convinced that it was good to go, and we were in favor of it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Tommy and I are fine with it.
Okay, great. That's the 266 commercial. All right, thank you. Then, hearing none, I would ask that we vote on 9 and 10. The former, Brett, of course, excusing himself.